Hello?
Hello, is that Jesse?
Hi.
Hi there, my name's Peter. I'm from the police station in Hayward Heath. How are you today?
Not bad, thank you. How are you?
A little bit concerned, to be honest with you. Have you contacted your parents?
Yeah, what's the problem? I don't understand.
Well, they've told me some things that have raised some concern for your welfare. They also said that you'd hurt another man. Is that right?
I prefer not to tell you about what happened.
It's 9 p.m. and the Metropolitan Police are investigating reports of an attack.
What happened, Jesse? What happened at that house?
The man came back to mine to rob me, you know?
Yeah. Jesse, where is he now?
To be honest, I haven't moved him.
What, he's still in your room?
Pretty much, yeah.
The man on the phone is 25-year-old Jesse McDonald. He has been living at a hotel in West London for 9 months.
It's a transient hotel. You got loads of people staying there. However, Jesse was probably more of a regular resident there.
He came to an agreement with the hotel manager that he could have a longer-term deal to stay in an annex in the garden, which was 1 room, 1 bedroom with a tiny bathroom.
Jesse, this is really important.
I'm with my girlfriend.
Jesse, what's your girlfriend's name?
Her name's Natalia.
Natalia? What's her surname?
Darkowska.
Darkowska.
Natalia Dalkowska is originally from Poland, but her family moved to Wiltshire, and she seems to have had a very sheltered, wholesome upbringing. She met MacDonald online, and she very quickly became quite enamoured by him. In fact, she was quite sort of spellbound by him in many ways.
Where is the male now that you've said that you've hurt?
All I know is that I had a very hard week and I didn't want to kill anyone.
Can you tell me where he is so that we can go and have a look?
The bathroom door is closed on him because I've had enough.
So is he in the bathroom?
He's in the bathroom.
Jesse, you're going to need to tell me where you're at, where he's at.
I'm not going to tell you until I'm home in 30 minutes.
Jesse refuses to tell where he is, and he says, I'll phone you back later that afternoon, but he never does.
Police need to establish where Jesse is and if someone has been seriously hurt, or worse. 12 hours later, a call comes through from the manager of the hotel where Jesse has been staying.
Hello, police. What's the emergency?
One of my tenants who's staying in the back flat, he said he had a fight with somebody and then he clearly told me he killed him.
So your tenant, what's his name?
His name is Jesse.
Officers hurry to the hotel.
Where is this room then? Can you show us where it is? Can I have the key, please? Police! There is a body. Yeah, we got a body in the bathroom.
One unfounded body.
Yeah, rigor mortis as well. Stone cold.
And that one was really...
Now, can you show life pronounced extinct? 11-20 hours.
The crime scene is cordoned off, and the cause of death confirmed.
There's approximately 6 or 7 stab wounds.
A driver's license is discovered just meters from the body. It reveals the victim's identity, a 36-year-old Somalian male named Hersi. A manhunt is underway to find Jesse and his girlfriend Natalia.
Slim-built, white, 25 years old, curly ginger hair.
Jesse, is he here at the moment?
He's not here, he just told me. I was in the house.
Where is he?
We don't know.
The couple are identified on CCTV, fleeing the hotel in the middle of the night.
Where do we find Jesse? We can't track his phone for some reason, but we know his girlfriend has a phone. So we trace her phone and we track it to the hotel in Teddington. So that's when officers attend. And as they're in the reception area, they see Jesse and Natalia walking down the stairs and go through a rear exit and then intercepted them and arrested for murder. both of them.
I've just fought a 6 or 7 hour fight for my life. I promise you, that fight, I couldn't. One of us was going to come out.
Don't talk about it.
Yeah, no.
That's a good bike.
Is anything in it?
No.
I acted 100% in self-defence.
We have a dead body. We have a alleged victim, which is Jesse, claiming that he was acting in self-defence.
Just a complete screw-up of a week.
Jesse MacDonald and Natalia Darkowska are taken to separate police stations in London.
All right, Jesse, you do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention, when questioned, something which you later, if you rely in court.
Do you know the person that's been killed?
No comment.
Jesse, you were arrested for murder, okay?
Have you and Jesse murdered this man?
No comment.
Police examine Hersi's social media profiles and discover he has an alternative identity as a transgender woman called Naomi.
The person that died was transgender and was known as Naomi to people. Did you know she was transgender?
Sorry, well, that's what I thought, yes.
Your first thought when you hear that the victim is a transgender woman is a possible hate crime. Naomi Hersi's last message on Twitter was about violence towards transgender women, saying trans women of colour face an epidemic of violence and murder. Little did she know that she was going to become a victim of it herself.
The violence came from her. I did not start the violence.
Hello, police! Police!
It's the 18th of March 2018. The body of transgender woman Naomi Hersi has been found in the bathroom of a hotel near Heathrow Airport.
There is a body. Yeah, rigor mortis as well. Stone cold.
No one deserves to die like that. I wish I could have been there for him.
On the 15th of October 1981, Hersi Mohammed Hersi, known to some as Naomi, was born to a large Muslim family in northwest London.
We are Somali, and my brother Hersi was fourth youngest. I'm the youngest, and I have 10 brothers and sisters. The house was always, hustling and bustling. I enjoyed growing up in a busy household. It was fun.
Of all his siblings, Hersi was closest to his youngest sister Amina and would often confide in her.
He was very honest with me. He said that he would dress up sometimes and that he felt feminine at the time and that it was fun for a few hours. But it might be that I'm his little sister and maybe there are some things that he doesn't want to tell me.
Neighbour and friend Gerson became acquainted with Hersi's other side.
Whenever I've asked him, when am I going to see Naomi? And then he says, no, Naomi comes out on the night time. And a few times he sent me pictures. Naomi looked like a model. Long, dark hair, very sexy looking makeup, and had sexy clothing. His nails are done with white and little diamonds on them.
I'd never known him as Naomi. That was never a side of him that I ever saw. He never asked me to call him Naomi, and he never asked me to call him she.
Hersi's gender dysphoria began to confuse him, and he became unsettled.
He found it really hard to keep down a job. And at times I'm sure that he encountered blatant discrimination. I think it really got him down.
He was that type of a person that he would keep any problem to himself. When he moved from here, I've lost contact.
In 2017, Hersi moved away to Mill Hill in northwest London and began spending more time as Naomi. But by being isolated from friends and family, depression set in.
I think when Hersi became really depressed, that drugs was another way for him to escape. I think that's what led him down the dark spiral. He started to contact us less and less. Also just seemed more angry. The last time he messaged me, he pretty much told me to never talk to him again. The day that he probably died, I was going to call him. I was hovering over his number and I didn't press it. I regret that. Yeah.
Now, it is your interview. It's recording now, okay?
A 25-year-old man, Jesse McDonald, and his 17-year-old girlfriend, Natalia Dakowska, are in police custody being questioned on suspicion of Naomi's murder.
Has Jesse told you what happened to this man?
No comment.
Have you seen him?
No comment.
Police need to establish how Naomi ended up dead in Jesse's hotel bathroom.
The best way to start is from the beginning.
Jesse McDonald was an only child and grew up in West Sussex, where he excelled at school and sports.
He was bright and quite gifted. He was a talented tennis player and played tennis at a county level.
Were you good at tennis?
Yeah,
obviously.
That was one of my things.
That was one of your, yeah.
But I got injured in every tennis injury you can imagine. I still suffer from it today.
These injuries scuppered Jesse's dreams of becoming a tennis professional. So he stayed in education and enrolled at the London School of Economics on a history degree.
It's an incredibly difficult university to get into. It's very prestigious. And in 2014, something happened and he dropped out.
After quitting his history course, Jesse sought out a fresh start and ended up living in West London.
So this is a hotel where Jesse McDonald lived, just behind where the end of the Heathrow runway is. So really, Jesse McDonald was living in many ways at the end of the line.
This hotel annex is where Jesse turned to the dark web to make money.
He set up quite a sophisticated drug dealing business online with spreadsheets and menus for customers. And really it was somewhere like this that he found he could disappear and fall under the radar.
I wasn't going to be a lifetime criminal or something. It was more a question of the people I met, and I wanted to just, it worked and it was quite enjoyable.
Jesse began to self-medicate and became addicted to painkillers he sourced illegally on the internet.
Jesse McDonald pretty much lived on his computer. He did most of his drug dealing online and he met people on dating websites.
I met my new girlfriend on an app, and it's been an absolute blessing, to be honest.
But this relationship wasn't enough for Jesse, and unbeknownst to Natalia, he had other interests.
McDonald spent the weekend with his girlfriend Natalia in Wiltshire, and he got back into his car after having what he said was a 3-hour-long sex session with her, and drove all the way back to his lodgings.
Within 40 minutes of arriving back to his annex, Jesse logged on to fabswingers.com, posting that he wanted edgy, risky sex. While searching the site, he came across Naomi's profile.
What we know about Naomi Hersi is that she was into meeting guys online and inviting them round for sex.
Did you know she was transgender?
Yeah, on her profile she says she's transgender.
How would you describe Jesse's sexual orientation?
No comment.
What were you hoping to get out of that meeting then?
I don't know. I think maybe just
widen my sexual experience in terms of so that I had a more open mind of other people, almost.
Do you know if he has any relationships outside your relationship?
No comment.
It was a spontaneous decision on that Monday. I was in a bit of a sort of strange headspace and I was quite horny, you know? I didn't have any pants on. I was dressed for a 30-minute meet. You know, I really didn't intend to be there more than 30 minutes.
After an hour in the car, Jessie arrives at Naomi's flat in northwest London.
I went to the door and then the person that opened it wasn't dressed, so it looked more like a man, to be honest. I really nearly left.
One of the neighbours noticed that he wasn't her usual type. He was younger and less aggressive looking than the kind of man that Naomi would usually have round.
What's happened next?
Well, I was offered a drink, and I believe I had an orange juice.
Orange juice.
And, well, I just started to feel quite tipsy.
Jessie claims that the orange juice was spiked with GHB, known as a date rape drug.
It dawned on me that I had lost control of being able to get out of the situation. She just told me to bend over, basically, to suck her cock.
Yeah. He admits giving oral sex to Naomi, but then he blanks out.
And then on Tuesday morning, you wake up on the sofa, is that right?
Yes.
And you said you're laying on a duvet, with a duvet over you, pillow, so somebody's made a comfortable bed for you.
Is your relationship with Jessie what you could describe as an open relationship?
No comment.
Do you share partners?
No comment.
Darkoska was completely in the dark. She sent him messages and phoned him, but he ignored her, and she doesn't know what's going on.
What's happened then? Have you tried to leave, or?
No, as I said, I just felt we ended up smoking the crystal meth.
Is that a drug you?
Never tried it in my life.
Never had it before.
Allegedly, he's never used crystal meth before, but he was given crystal meth for the first time, and it was very controlling, and it's a very, very addictive drug.
She was quite aggressive in saying, well, just give it a try, you know, and it just went, I did.
What made you feel like that you just could not leave that flat?
I feel like it was something to do with the drugs. I became numb and a shadow of myself or something. I became a victim. I remember in the evening, I think, being bound.
Bent over and bum raped, basically.
MacDonald had claimed that he'd been held captive by Naomi, that she'd kept him at her flat, drugged him, that he'd been raped.
You're a man in his 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah? You've got somebody here who's a bit feminine?
No, not in any way. Acting extremely masculine and domineering and aggressive with me.
He said he was coerced. He was a bit like a zombie. He was a childlike kind of person who was under control, but at some point they went to the shops together, which really was a little bit confusing.
CCTV captures the pair out in public on the Wednesday. Despite claiming to be under duress, Jessie appears relaxed with Naomi.
There was a wealth of CCTV in this matter, and that revealed that MacDonald and Naomi had actually been shopping together.
You can see how intimidated I feel just by watching me.
I don't know why, but I felt it was hard to escape, even though it shouldn't have been.
You've got to remember this is somebody who claimed that he'd been held captive, drugged and raped. And at no stage does he attempt to raise any alarm anywhere, to free himself, to use a phone. So clearly we're able to rebut the suggestion that this intelligent young man had no means of escape.
Despite multiple opportunities to seek help and flee, Jessie has now spent 3 days with Naomi.
One of Naomi's neighbours noticed that McDonald's BMW had been parked outside the flats for 3 days, and she found it rather unusual because usually her visitors would only stay for half an hour, certainly not the night, and definitely not 3 days. In that time, Darkowska tried to contact her boyfriend repeatedly.
Jesse finally responds to his 17-year-old girlfriend, Natalia.
Just, I'm sorry, all okay, I'll call you later and explain, and signs off with a kiss. But clearly he hasn't explained what he's been up to.
By Thursday, she was saying that I owed money for the drugs. That was what I was being told. You owe me money.
MacDonald had claimed Naomi had then forced him to take her to where he was staying, a hotel annex.
Jesse thought that was an opportunity for him to escape. This is Jesse's version of events. And in a zombie-like state, he's driven his car from Mill Hill to Hounslow.
Felt like there was an end was in sight, because at the end of the day I was going back to my home. I was going to give her £80, yeah? And then I was going to drive her back.
When MacDonald and Naomi arrive at the hotel, they're captured on CCTV. And that is the last time Naomi is ever seen alive.
On the Thursday, Jesse claims he was forced to take Naomi back to his hotel annex in West London to give her the money he owed her. But the following morning, Naomi has still not left the annex.
I gave her the money that we had agreed.
Okay. £80?
£80. I took it back, but she wouldn't leave.
Jesse insists that Naomi continue to coerce him.
So now, on your premises, and you're still feeling the same way?
Exactly, but I felt a little bit different in that I had a little bit more control. And that's when I tried with the Xanax and in the Mau Wow suite.
What is Xanax?
It's a sedative in some way. I thought that this would subdue her, and we could leave out of the building without disturbing anyone else with the £80, and I could drive her home.
Okay. He's put some Xanax in a Mau Mau suite, and he claims that he's given it to Naomi to try and drug her.
What were you going to do, Jesse? Were you going to say, "Oh, here, have this sweet"?
I gave it to her like that. So take this
she
sweet.
took it?
She took it, yeah.
And ate it?
Yeah. But she didn't actually. She had somehow managed to dispose of it and make it look like she had eaten it.
Despite claiming to be under duress, Jesse walks freely around the hotel and doesn't raise an alarm or ask anyone for help.
Goes to the reception, makes 2 drinks, one for himself and one for Naomi. But he claims that he put drugs in Naomi's.
I made a smoothie. I put Xanax in it.
What else did you put in it?
Lots of fruit, that sort of thing. Xanax in a smoothie.
Jesse returns to his room with the 2 drinks, and he is not seen again for several hours. 6 hours later, he emerges and contacts Natalia.
Jesse said, I need you to help me. And then there's a series of text messages, phone calls between both of them.
This is the first time he's giving away any detail of what's actually going on in that room. He says, I don't know, give him loads of acid or something that will make him harmless. This guy is so strange. Going to call an ambulance, I think. Try to wake him up. Literally seems dead. He's setting up an alternative reality to make her believe his version of events.
At around 1:30 p.m, Natalia can be seen entering the annex.
She sees what's happened. She then goes again and buys cleaning material and comes back and helps him.
Did you want to help him?
No, come on.
Have you and Jesse murdered this man?
No, come on.
They were there for 6, maybe 8 hours trying to clean up the place, and the place was an absolute mess. So we're just piling clothes into bin bags and piling them up. They didn't know what to do, just didn't know what to do.
Well, I don't think it's speculation to say that they gave up after a few hours, because that's what they did. They'd left behind black bags containing blood-soaked items and effectively fled the premises.
The couple leave the hotel with bags containing Jesse's possessions. Minutes later, he calls his mother, explaining he has been held captive. Concerned for her son's welfare, she phones the police, who then contact Jesse.
I've heard some things that may or may not have happened.
It's not something I can tell you about right now because it's something that I need to take time to to reflect on.
Jesse, they also said that you'd hurt another man. Is that right?
Yeah, it's all very well to use the word hurt, but that's far from the right word to use.
Well, what's the right word to use?
The right word to use would be defence.
The next morning, the hotel manager calls 999.
One of my tenants who's staying in the back flat, his name is Jesse. He said he had a fight with his somebody.
Where is this room?
Police swoop in.
Police!
And find Naomi's body in the bathroom. Her pink headband is discovered on the floor. Her jacket is left on the bed. And traces of her wig are scattered around the room.
There was widespread blood staining on both the bedroom and the bathroom. Bedroom, there was blood staining on the wall and the head of the bed from Naomi Hersi that Jesse had attempted to wash off.
It is clear someone has tried to clean the crime scene.
Were you helping Jesse after he's killed this man?
No, come on.
Have you assisted Jesse in disposing of any evidence?
No, come on.
We had strong and compelling evidence of her removing items of forensic value from the hotel room, and we had compelling evidence of her DNA on the marigolds that she'd purchased. She could have alerted the police, she could have refused to assist him, but instead she stayed, she helped him.
The suspects have been in custody for 12 hours. They could be released without charge if the detectives cannot compile enough evidence.
We're against the clock. We only can hold him for up to 24 hours without an extension from the superintendent. How can I get the case over the line? Is there enough evidence just on the initial assessment? Does his story hold up? And all these things I'm thinking about multiple times and in my little head, my little jigsaw, and trying to put these little pieces together.
I did not start the violence.
MacDonald claimed from the outset he had acted in self-defence, and in murder cases, self-defence is a defence. So I had to look very carefully at all the evidence to rebut or disprove that defence.
I was offered a drink, and I know that the person in question was into the GHB, and I feel like that drink was spiked.
Jesse's claims that Naomi spiked his drink with a date rape drug are disputed.
We were able to get a toxicologist's report to confirm that no date rape drug had been used.
So you've started to smoke crystal meth. Is that a drug you...
Never tried it in my life.
Never had it before?
Jesse's denial that he had never used crystal meth before is also disputed.
We were able to send hair samples from him, which revealed that, in fact, he'd been using crystal meth himself for up to 4 months prior to the murder.
His argument that he'd never used crystal meth, rubbish. Absolute rubbish, and that was actually damning for him.
But what was most damning was Naomi's post-mortem results, which showed significant injuries. Jesse claims Naomi attacked him after she realised he had tried to drug her.
What happened then, Jesse?
She was saying about facing off, you know? And...
What do you mean by facing off?
She said, well, would you face me off? She posed the question.
What does that mean?
I said, you're not taking my things.
Right.
You know, I said in a forceful way, you're not taking my things.
Yeah, you're not having
This is how it's going to go today. The problem is that I didn't expect it to go from 0 to 100. And the violence came from her.
Donald claimed that he had acted in self-defense and that Naomi had attempted to throttle him. I think he described it as she'd got him in a death grip, and that everything he did following that was in self-defense.
It felt so strong. I was up against the wall, and my hand, I could go down the side of the bed because I'm sure that's where the beer bottle I got it from.
We think the initial attack site took place on a bed where he smashed a glass or a glass object on her face.
I smashed a bottle over the head and then went like that, or something like that, up into her neck.
And do you remember cutting her neck with the glass bottle?
I remember the glass going into her neck, and I seeing the piece of glass like this. You see what I mean? She went for me big time. We went tossing and turning over the room. I was losing the control. That's when we headed to the bathroom.
Fights ended up into the bathroom. We know there has been a fight in there because there's blood smeared on the floor, the wall.
Is that where you stabbed her?
That's where ultimately I stabbed her.
Do you know how many times you stabbed her?
I tried to stab her. When I stabbed her, I was surprised at how little effect it had.
Okay.
How she seemed to not do anything to her but make her more angry almost for the first few times.
And that's when Naomi dies, in the bathroom.
I feel like I could have been in so much of a crazed state of, oh my God, why did you do this to me in my room? Why have you created this whole drama for my life? And I feel like I could have easily, in that state, actually harmed her dead carcass.
The fact that he described Naomi as a dead carcass speaks volumes about his attitude towards what happened.
In his head, he's killed somebody, but in his head, he doesn't think he's committed murder.
Jesse maintains he killed Naomi in self-defense, but the pathologist's findings suggest otherwise.
There's a distinct lack of defense wounds on the victim. What it means when someone says there's a lack of defense wounds means that whoever has killed her or whoever has inflicted the wounds on her, right, she hasn't fought back very much.
Yes, she has.
If he was in a fight and there was a knife being used, potentially there will be self-defense wounds on him as well. He had a few cuts and grazes.
I do have bruises on me. Yeah. I was punched, for sure. I was kicked hard. I was...
Sorry, the
tape is about to...
The lack of defence wounds on Naomi's body is yet more evidence suggesting Jesse may not be telling the truth.
Naomi suffered 19 injuries, including 11 stab wounds, 7 of which were concentrated in the front of the chest, to a depth that's 9 centimetres. That's a significant amount of power in there. There were 29 areas of injury to the head and neck alone.
He had cuts all over his face, like little straight lines down his cheeks, across his forehead. And I remember thinking, like, who has time to be that cruel?
That's a lot of violence. That's not self-defense. No way self-defense. That's an angry man.
We heard that he may have already been on the floor when he was stabbed continuously. That there were marks that on the floor that showed that he was attacked while he was lying there. But the amount of blood in the crime scene, the blood on the walls, on the door, on the floor, everywhere. You just wonder how much horror happened in that room.
It was a frenzied attack. It was a mindless attack on a helpless person. Naomi didn't stand a chance at all. Didn't stand a chance. Can I just quick take a break?
The fight had moved to life or death. Okay. One of us was going to go.
Jesse's claim he acted in self-defense is undermined. He is formally charged with Naomi's murder.
Has Jesse killed this man?
No comment.
Has he told you
No
that he has?
The police must now determine Natalia's involvement and whether she too will face trial for murder.
I called Natalia for the first time and I told her what had happened.
Did you get Natalia to call 999?
No, I should have. I called Natalia because that's the person I love. And, I can't believe I even brought her to the scene. I really can't.
Were you helping Jesse after he's killed this man?
No comment.
Police! Oh no, there is a body.
Jesse MacDonald has been charged with the murder of transgender woman Naomi Hersi. Almost 24 hours since arrest, time is running out for police to charge his 17-year-old girlfriend, Natalia Darkowska.
Were you helping Jesse after he's killed this man?
No comment.
With Miss Kauska, I mean, we had strong and compelling evidence of her removing items of forensic value from the hotel room, and we had compelling evidence of her DNA on the marigolds that she purchased. She could have alerted the police, she could have refused to assist him, but instead she stayed, she helped him, she attempted to remove evidence and then went with him to another place.
When presented with the evidence against her, Natalia continues to reply no comments throughout the interview.
Is there anything else you want to add or clarify about what we've asked you?
No comment.
For attempting to clean up the crime scene with Jesse, Natalia is charged with perverting the course of justice. Both will now face trial at the Old Bailey.
It's always good to have a trial at the Old Bailey because it's this sense of you've done bad, you're in a big house now, you will face justice.
In front of Naomi's friends and family, both the defendants plead not guilty to their charges.
We had to sit and watch Jesse and Natalia in the dock every day. Jesse spent most of the time smirking, and he would canoodle with Natalia. He would play with her hair. He would whisper in her ear. They would be all cuddling up in there.
Jesse maintains he killed Naomi in self-defense.
He was very controlling, very manipulative, very argumentative. If it's not his way, it's nobody's way.
You had to listen to the defense trash my brother, trash his memory. And you can't say a word back.
He was trying to paint a picture of him basically being abducted and held captive. And we were able to take each and every aspect of his defence apart and show that actually he was lying.
Jesse's story of Naomi being violent towards him doesn't ring true to the people closest to her.
Knowing Hersi, what kind of person he was, he's not a violent person. So I'm a bit puzzled there.
There was something about the way he attacked Hersi that made it feel personal. Which is odd because they only knew each other for 4 days. How personal can it get?
The jury has shown police body cam footage of Jesse's arrest, which could reveal his motive.
I probably got given HIV so many times during those few days anyway. I had a fought with a person who laughed in my face and told me they had given me HIV.
One thing that Jesse did mention was that our victim was HIV, but it was low-grade HIV, so it's not transmittable. There's nothing to support that he was given HIV.
I'm very paranoid about HIV. I grew up with a boy whose mum passed away with HIV, and it's always been a pet fear of mine.
So it brings out extreme emotions in me.
After a 6-week trial, it is now down to the jury to consider their verdict.
I was very nervous. The jury, I felt like it could have gone either way. They spent a long time, longer than expected, deciding. The judge had to give them a majority verdict because they couldn't agree. And that, to me, was a bad sign.
Nobody knows for sure how the verdict is going to come out, no matter how devastating the evidence. You can never be quite sure what's going to happen. It's extremely tense, and the jury come in, and it's silent in court.
The forelady got up and she said that he was guilty.
Yes! And it's like, well, no, I'm the gaffer. I'm not supposed to be doing that.
When I heard that G, I did a backflip on the inside.
Jesse MacDonald was found guilty of murder and was sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum of 20 years.
He was punching the wall as if it came to some sort of surprise to him that he was found guilty for murdering someone.
Natalia Dajkowska was found guilty of perverting the court of justice. She received a suspended sentence and was ordered to do 150 hours of unpaid work.
I thought that maybe she would not stand by him, but she didn't. She stood by him. She's guilty of perverting the course of justice, but she's also allowed to walk free. I don't understand.
I think Natalia is a victim in this to a certain extent because she's been dragged into this. She is naive. It's a harsh lesson to be learning, especially when someone's died. But I don't think she'll do that again.
Despite justice being served, Naomi's loved ones continue to mourn their loss.
We'll never get to see my brother again. We'll never get to speak to him, hug him. That's the part that's really hard to come to terms with.
Every time I walk past from tennis court, I remember Hersi swinging his hips about a bit, and I can picture him here playing his tennis. I wish Hersi was here right now.
In 2018, there were almost 400 trans and gender diverse murders reported across the world. Naomi's death has brought positive change to the way that victims in the LGBT community are perceived by the media and the justice system.
In the past, we've been criticised for some of the work that we've done and how we've operated and how the language we've used. However, on this occasion, taking aboard all the expert advice that we got from the advisory group, we got it right. They've told us we've got it right, and I'm proud of that.
A year after Naomi's murder, students at the London School of Economics have organised an exhibition in her memory. Through art and photography, they aim to educate visitors about the lives of trans and intersex people of colour. Trans activist Ms. Kimberly visits the gallery to celebrate Naomi's life.
I want to show you some never-before-seen pictures of Naomi.
Fantastic.
That's one of her friends who took a few years ago.
This is the way I remember her. It's wonderful. It really is wonderful. You know, it's quite incredible that it's gotten so much attention from our own community, and we've really helped keep her name alive.
And that's part of the inspiration of this exhibition, is to not only keep her name alive, but to remember her in a way that the general media doesn't.
Yes.
The horrifying story of a 20-year-old hairdresser stabbed to death in front of colleagues and clients in the salon where she worked. Documentary stalked Murder in Slow Motion is next tonight.